Steve, welcome to number 100. How are you doing, man?
I'm really good, man. Just got home from a little 8-day family road trip with a 1-year-old in the car, so it's nice to be 2,000 miles, a 1-year-old in the car was a little interesting at times, but yeah, man, I'm great. It's end of October, coming in November. We got deer season approaching. We're recording episode 100 right now, which is
crazy.
Freaking crazy. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I remember, I guess it was a little over 2 years ago now, we were sitting in the old Exo offices in your office, and we were just kind of kicking around. I was like, we should really just do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then now here we are doing episode 100. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's crazy how fast time goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this episode, we want to thank you guys, the listeners. So we're at episode 100 because of you guys. We keep going because of the feedback from you guys, the reviews from you guys, the interaction, the questions, the comments, all the above. If that wasn't happening, if that wasn't coming in, we wouldn't be here doing this. But so we're going to move through this episode pretty quick, and we want to give you guys an opportunity to win some gear from us at Exo Mountain Gear, but also from a bunch of the folks that help us with the podcast, past guests, things like that. So there's a ton of stuff coming. We've been teasing it for a while if you've been listening to the show. But before we dive into that, we just did want to take a couple minutes, whether you're recently started listening to the podcast or this is your very first episode 100, and just kind of give some context. So Steve, from your perspective, kind of what's some of the reasons you wanted to do this podcast, and how do you see it, and how do you think it's helpful for everybody out there?
Obviously the main driving factor was as a marketing tool for Exo Mountain Gear. Just to be able to get our message out there about, why we build the packs and, the design behind them. And then at the same time, be able to reach out kind of directly to the customers and guys out there and interact with guys. And, I think that's been a awesome part of it. And then the other great part about it and the kind of the whole message behind the podcast is both you and I are frankly like very excited to get all these guests on here and learn from them. We're all learning and adapting as hunters, and nobody's got it all figured out. And so to be able to share that with the audience, and bring on these guests that are experts in certain fields or approach hunting in different ways and bring different perspectives to things, my hope is definitely that through this, guys learn something new, a new way to hunt, or more successful in the field. And that one of the most rewarding parts is, we get emails, almost every single day on, feedback about the podcast, especially this now that, we're full on bow season's past. It's end of October, rifle season's past. I can't tell you how many countless emails we've got from guys that say they went on their first trip or their 10th trip, or this is their 10th year hunting, and they were able to harvest. And part of that was due to listen to the podcast and learning from us and from our guests. So, I think it's just such a cool way to get a message out there and interact.
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, obviously it's a great opportunity for us to talk a little bit about Exo, but it's also amazing. We've gotten so much feedback of, you guys really don't talk about products much, and we don't. It's like, it's cool to raise awareness of, hey, we have Exo Mountain Gear, and we, can help you out with packs for your backcountry hunting adventures, but it's far from an infomercial in that regard in terms of selling things. And like you said, the coolest part of the podcast for me is hearing, especially from first-time hunters or somebody who I've wanted to do this for so long, but I wasn't sure how. I wasn't sure if I could, or I just didn't have the confidence. And so it's not that, we've done anything, they've done the work, but I think listening to our guests has given them both the knowledge and the confidence to go and make a trip like that happen. And that's the coolest thing ever, to hear that more and more guys are doing this and getting out there, and, whether they punch the tag or not, it's all about, as it is for you and I, the experience and the adventure. And it's so awesome to hear that more and more folks are getting out on public land and just, doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a cool part. I think every time you get an email, you forward it right to me, and I do the same to you of guys giving us feedback, and it's awesome.
Yeah, cool. All right, so before we get into the giveaways, which are coming right up, we did want to let you guys know it's something that we've heard from listeners for a while. we actually have some Hunt Backcountry podcast gear now. So shirts and decals both turned out fantastic. If you guys just go to exomountaingear.com/podcast, there you can catch the entire back catalog of episodes, but we'll also be sure and link to the shirts and the decals there. So if you guys want to support the podcast, again, it's something that you've been asking for. It's something that we have dropped the ball on and taken way too long to do.
That's what I said. Yeah. I was sitting there laughing. The sad part is I got these shirts and decals done, I think, in middle of July.
Right. Well, even that, right? It still took a year and a half to get them.
Yeah.
And then we don't even get them for a few months.
It's been so stinking busy. September, August, October. Yeah. It's a good time of year though. Things wind down and we can start, getting back at it.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, speaking of just so busy, I think it's, there's podcasts out there that are super professional. Like, they have studios, they have producers, they have all this stuff. And just in case you guys are wondering, it's like we're, sitting in our houses just getting this thing done. It's not like this crazy thing that we can do professionally. We have a lot of other irons in the fire, but we appreciate you guys sticking with it.
Yeah, we know that, it's not always perfect audio, and Mark and I maybe not be the most entertaining of folks, but hopefully the content and information that the listeners are getting is worth it.
Yeah, I think the guests are better than the host, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, let's get straight into this. So the way that this is going to work with the giveaways, guys, just go to exomountaingear.com/podcast or /100, and that'll take you straight there. We always put up a page with the episode, and it's always, exomountaingear.com / the episode number. So for number 100, there's going to be this giveaway entry form right there. It's super simple. Just getting into the giveaway period, you're going to automatically be entered to win an Exo Mountain Gear 3500 pack. So that's a killer prize right there. Then what we're going to do from here is we've reached out to a bunch of our friends, both individuals and companies and brands that we love, and, said, hey, we want to do this. We want to give back to our listeners. Can you guys help us out? And so for each of these folks that we're going to run through, if you want to enter into their giveaway, there's going to be like a little keyword entry box. And so for each one, I'm going to give you guys the keyword here as we roll through them, tell you what the prize is, tell you, if they've been on the podcast, maybe what Steve and I have gotten out of that podcast or how we use their products or anything. And then so you can just kind of pick and choose. You want to enter them all. We're going to roll through these, just jot them down or go to the website and enter all the keywords. Or if you're not interested in all, no problem. Just enter the ones that you were interested in and you will automatically be entered into the giveaway for those products. So like I said, anybody who enters, period, going to be entered to win the Exo Mountain Gear 3500. Steve, for guys who are new to that, just give them kind of the 2-minute rundown on kind of the features, the philosophy, the design of that pack.
So the 3500, I guess to start with, we have one frame, and still some guys get that confused. Maybe it's our fault for not getting the marketing message out there clearer, but we have one frame. So that's your belt, your harness, the frame, the titanium frame, and the frame panel, and then 3 different bags that attach to that. So on the frame, our premise behind the whole thing is a frame that basically at any given point you can pack meat. The traditional, what Lenny and I struggled with when we were prior to starting Exo Mountain Gear was packs were either day packs or meat hauling packs, and you didn't have that crossover between the two. And so our frame is designed to be extremely comfortable with, the lightweight 30 pounds in your pack. Same time, at the drop of a hat, you can convert that thing into throwing 120 pounds of meat on it and pack out. So no wasted energy, no going back to the truck with the light load and getting your pack frame. You just go straight into meat hauling and you save time and energy. So that's the frame. And then the bag itself, the 3500 is definitely our best selling bag. It's 3,500 cubic inches is the main bag in the lid. And then you're looking at an extra about 900 cubic inches in the side pockets that wrap around it. And it's our best selling, kind of the do it all, compresses up awesome for day trips, expands out. Average guy is going to get 5 nights or a 5-day trip out of it. Some guys lightweight can go longer, pack more stuff. Maybe it's a day or two shorter. So really just the do it all pack, whether you're day hunting or doing backcountry hunts, the 3,500 is kind of our best selling and the main ticket for sure.
Awesome. So that's giveaway number one. Let's hit this list here from a bunch of our friends. First up, $100 gift card from our friends at First Light. We've not only been wearing their gear for well before the podcast even started, but we've had both Ryan and Kenton on the podcast separately. So Ryan joined us for episode 75 more recently, and then Kenton, if you dig into the archives, episode 23. So First Light, I'm sure that many of you are familiar with him. If you're not, what rock have you been living under? If you haven't tried their gear, at least hopefully you're aware of them. But they're going to give you guys a $100 gift card. So the keyword for that one is merino. So merino wool, something that First Light really brought to the hunting market. They do much more than merino these days. They have outerwear and all kinds of other performance layers as well. But Merinos, continues to be essential to our system. Steve and I, and we trust First Light with that for sure, and are just super happy with them, and glad that they've supported us in the podcast. If you've listened to previous episodes, you might even know they've kind of helped us and sponsored the show as well. So, $100 gift card from our friends at First Light. Just go enter the keyword merino. All right, we are gonna keep cruising because we have quite a few to get through. Heather Kelly from Heather's Choice. Again, she's joined us for a couple episodes, both number 40 and 84. I love Heather. I love her story and her products. Someone who's really just a go-getter who had an idea and just really, made it happen. And now she's doing great things. So Heather offers meals, for all kinds of backcountry adventures, outdoor adventures, and has fully embraced us as the hunting community. She has a big meal sampler. So Heather offers everything from like entrees, dinners, to breakfast meals and snacks, and really kind of everything you need for backcountry meals. The one thing that stands out when I think of Heather's stuff is quality. And so that's the keyword to enter that giveaway. It's just quality. So it's quality food, quality ingredients, quality processes. It's all pretty much small batch, with ingredients that are real food and not a bunch of chemicals, not a bunch of additives, and just super thankful that she, has brought her products to market, and there's others joining her, and it's awesome to see that. But she has a meal sampler for you guys. So again, just go enter keyword quality for the Heather's Choice giveaway. All right. Another two-time guest. I didn't even put all these together, but another two-time guest is Rob Shaw from the Mountain Tactical Institute. So Rob joined us, in episode 5, so way back in the day, as well as episode 62. So Rob is a coach and a trainer. He works with all kinds of mountain athletes, professional skiers, professional climbers. He does a ton of training with military, all different branches, and different programs. And with the Mountain Tactical Institute that Rob has, they have, I think, well over 100 plans now. Fitness plans that you can purchase. So if you're not local to Rob, as many of us aren't, he's in Jackson, Wyoming, and has a small gym there, but he tests and develops all of his plans with specific purposes. Rob himself is a backcountry hunter, and so he understands the demands of backcountry hunting from a practical level as a hunter himself, but he then is also backed with years and years and years of experience of preparing mountain athletes for specific pursuits. So Rob is offered up his training plan for backcountry hunting. He has a specific plan and packet for that, and then also a sandbag. So in a lot of Rob's workouts, and I can attest to this because I have done numerous of Rob's plans, a sandbag can kind of be a critical piece of equipment, especially for his hunting plans. And if you're not familiar with the sandbag getup, go look it up. It looks easy, and it is simple. It's just not easy. It's stupid hard. It takes both some mental and physical fortitude to do repeat sandbag get-ups with a 60 or 80 pound sandbag. And then Rob, he has the sandbag manufactured for kind of his specs. So he's going to give you a training plan and the sandbag. The keyword for that one for Rob's giveaway is just athlete. So if you think that backcountry hunting is an athletic endeavor, which I do, go enter athlete. You'll be entered to win Rob's training plan for backcountry hunting and also the sandbag. So super glad to have that.
Awesome.
Next up, Robbie Denning. Some of you guys might know him from Rock Slide. He's also an author, does a ton of great content, both online as well as books. He has a book, Hunting Big Mule Deer, How to Take the Best Buck of Your Life. He joined us way back in episode 18. It's an episode that is definitely worth going back to. I'm so glad that we have it. Because, as we're on 100 now, we've picked up so many new listeners since episode 18. But I'm telling you guys, this is one you have to go back and get to. Does anything, this was, probably close to 2 years at this point, but does anything stick out from that episode for you? Because I felt like that was just jam-packed with so much info, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing that comes to mind the most is just, frankly, Robbie's, you could just tell he is so passionate about hunting mule deer and so excited about it. And he is just a wealth of knowledge. And I know I picked up a bunch of stuff from that episode, and I can't recall anything specific at the moment. But I mean, he just loves mule deer hunting. It's like when we have Elk Nut on here, and he's just freaking, just bursting at the seams just talking about it. So yeah, a great episode. There's a lot to pick up on there about how to hunt mature deer and their how they how to find them, basically. Yeah, really good episode.
Yeah, when we talked about how to locate, we talked about different hunting strategies in terms of glassing versus still hunting and kind of when to use which, and that episode is jam-packed. One of the, because I was kind of going back through listening to that episode, and I'm not even a huge mule deer guy, but I still wanted to go back and listen to that episode. And one of the simple things he said in passing, which is kind of like a duh thing, but he basically just said, for every action you take in the woods and the hunter, there's a reaction. And you might not witness that immediately, but I think it's true. And it's a good reminder for me of everything we do has consequences when we're out there. And so that simple thing of just, being mindful about what we do, where we go, how we do it is, I think, critical and can make a difference no matter whether you're hunting mule deer or anything else. So I kind of picked that as something, as a takeaway. So to enter the giveaway for Robbie's book, go enter reaction. That's the key word to enter the book giveaway from Robbie Denning. Up next, we're going to get into quite a few here in a row with some archery gear. So if you guys want to trick out your bow, stay tuned for these next few. You can do that. The guys from Ripcord, we've been using their rests a while now. We actually haven't had them on the show yet, but that's going to be in the works for sure. But the keyword to get a Ripcord Ace rest from our friends at Ripcord is Ace. So go enter that one. The Ace is an awesome rest, drop away rest, but super reliable. I always love how simple it is to set up, how easy it is to use. I love the fact that if you let down, under control, the rest is going to stay up. That's important to me, not only for hunting west, but also for the whitetail hunting I do at home. I can be in the stand and think I have a shot opportunity, and I've blown it in the past with other rests when I go to let down and something ends up clinking and spooking deer. So Ripcord Ace is an awesome rest, incredibly easy to use. So go enter the keyword Ace if you want to win a rest from the good folks at Ripcord. Let's see, up next, more archery gear, tight spots. So tight spot quivers, something that's you and I have been using both for a long time, Steve.
Yeah, since they started, yeah.
Yeah, a long time. We had Joe Jacks from Tight Spot on the podcast in episode 86 not too long ago. It was a fantastic episode, not only to hear a bit about Tight Spot and about quivers and all that, but we dove into antelope hunting, getting after those speed goats. And Joe has a bunch of experience there, some hilarious stories to share. And so the keyword to win a tight spot quiver makes no sense, but the keyword is Bob. And if you've heard the episode, you know why it's Bob. If you have no idea what Bob has to do with tight spot quivers, definitely go check out episode 86. It's a fun episode. It's, informational, but certainly there's some laughs in there as well.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty. Did you use the 7 arrow at all much, Steve? That's new for this year. I can't believe that they were able to produce that 7 arrow with, basically almost a 0 weight penalty over the 5 arrow.
Yeah, that's super sweet. I actually had a 5 arrow, and I didn't transfer over to the 7, but Lenny had the 7, and I was jealous all hunting season for sure. It's a sweet setup. When we went up to Alaska, he just threw 7 arrows in the quiver, and not necessarily something I need on a 3-day backcountry hunt, but
right.
It's freaking sweet. The ability to have 7 arrows in there at the exact same size and weight as the 5 arrow quiver it's just one of those aha simple moments. You're like, man, I can't believe nobody else thought of this. So
yeah,
awesome new product from them.
Yeah, I think that's like a difference of 0.2 ounces or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they also have the 3 arrow, which I actually really like if you can get away with it. So they have the 3, the 5, and the 7. Again, the 5 and the 7 are basically not different in terms of weight or design for the most part. So I'd lean towards 7 if that's the way you're going to go. Obviously, you don't have to use all 7 spaces, but that 3 arrow is a slick little lightweight quiver if you guys can get away with 3 arrows or pack some extras or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Another archery gear, Black Gold sights. We've actually recorded an episode with the good folks from Black Gold. That's going to be coming out soon. Didn't get it out yet, but it's a super, super helpful episode on bow sights. Not only Black Gold sights specifically, but just really what to consider when you're selecting a bow sight, like the different things to look for, the pros and cons of going with this versus that. We get into some talk about how to set up a bow sight. We kind of covered all from fixed versus movable and pin colors and pin sizes and pin options. And it's a great episode if you guys are in the market for a sight, or if you want to just win this one and don't have to buy one. That's awesome too. So the guys from Black Gold are pretty much going to work with you to build a custom bow sight. That's one thing that they offer. Is a ton of different options, ton of different models, and they will literally build a custom bow sight, with your exact pin sizes and colors and all different kinds of options. So the keyword to enter a sight from the guys at Black Gold is Ascent, Ascent. It's one of their models, one that's been around in one form or another and just gotten better and better over the years. I think I've been using one 5+ years, and I know that you have even longer than that, Steve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's such a solid slider sight, and it's for a Western hunting, or even if you do you can run like a 3-pin slider sight. That Ascent, that's what Lenny has as an Ascent Verdict. 3 pins, sets it up 20, 30, 40. Has that dial. If he's got a deer at 55 yards, 60 yards, whatever, you can take the time, range it, dial it in perfectly. It's such an awesome setup. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, sweet. Up next, we have Ryan Kleckner. So he's a 3-time guest. One of these guys that I did not know from Adam at all until we had him on the show the first time. I don't even remember how I stumbled upon his work, but we were doing a rifle series, and Ryan is a former sniper from the military and continues to work in the firearms industry in a bunch of different ways and is incredibly knowledgeable on rifles. And again, I just stumbled upon his work and thought, oh man, we got to try and get this guy on the show. Had him on one show and we're like, dang, we got to do a part 2 because we didn't cover it all. And then we ended up doing 3. So he was on episodes 72, 73, and then just a few back on 97. Ryan has a bunch of different things going. He has a book, The Long Range Shooting Handbook, which whether, you have an affinity towards long range or even are turned off by that concept, don't, be mistaken by that title. It is a fantastic resource for any rifle shooting, his long range shooting handbook. Just a wealth of knowledge. He's working on a part 2 for that, a follow-up with that. And then he also has some other projects going on with both FFL licensing as well as concealed carry licensing. And so he is going to give the winner a chance at getting a book or participating in either of those licensing programs. The keyword to enter his giveaway is handbook for the long range shooting handbook, or you can get into his other offerings as well. But Ryan is just super knowledgeable, incredibly fun, and so glad that we basically stumbled upon him having been on the podcast 3 times at this point.
One thing I love about Ryan was his base message was just like focusing on simplicity, like
Yeah.
what defining your kill zone, whether that's a quarter or a pie plate, and just focusing on that. I think so many guys get caught up, whether it's shooting a bow or shooting a rifle, and all these like fine little details, but skip past all the core basic stuff. I think it's just such a good message that he delivers on just it at the very least keep things simple and basic, and you're gonna in the field be a more effective essentially killer when it
Yeah.
comes down to the heat of the moment. When you pull that trigger or squeeze the trigger, that arrow or bullet's gonna go where you hit. And I love his message on that.
Yeah. And it was interesting too, along those 3 episodes, especially when we got into some of the technical things about rifle shooting or bullet performance. It really turned some lights on for us, even from an archery perspective. Steve and I are primarily archery hunters. So even if you're hearing that and you think, I'm not a rifle guy at all, I would still listen to those, because it turned some lights on for us in terms of why things work the way they do, even shooting a bow. So it's an awesome series. If you guys go back to those episodes around like the 60s and the 70s, we did a whole series on building a backcountry rifle. Again, Ryan was part of that, but there's a bunch of other stuff. So you guys, if you haven't seen those and you're interested in rifles or getting into rifles, definitely go check out that whole series as well on the podcast. Let's see. Our buddy Eric from Muley Freak, they have a slick bino harness as well as some logo gear. And he is giving that up for you guys as something to win as well. He joined us on episode 80, had a fun time talking a little hunting business, and then also getting into some Alaska adventures, kind of just hit all kinds of stuff. It was an entertaining, informational episode. We talked a little bit about social media, both the good and the bad, and how that's affected the hunting world, if you will. But yeah, just a good times, good dudes, the guys over at Muley Freak. So again, if you want to get a hold of their bino harness and some of their logo gear, just go enter the keyword freak for that, and you will be in on that one. Andrew Skirka. So Andrew joined us on episode 53. He's a guy that was on my radar, for years and years and years. Even before I was even really into backcountry hunting, I was just kind of into backpacking itself. And Andrew was a guy that I was aware of from back then. I had seen him online. I had taken like some little clinics or seminars from him that he used to kind of travel around and do. And he's primarily just a long distance backpacker. And even saying that is not doing him justice.
Yeah.
I mean, he has done solo trips that are thousands and thousands of miles that last for months, much of which was off trail that he, put together himself. Like his resume, if you will, of outdoor adventures is literally mind blowing. And several years back, he himself got into hunting a bit. So we got him on the show, not just to talk about hunting, but really, I mean, the dude is a wizard when it comes to backpacking knowledge and backpacking gear, because that is his pedigree, and he has more days in the field and more experience than, pretty much all of us listening combined, it seems like.
Yeah.
So he has a book called The Ultimate Hiker's Gear Guide, which is a great resource. Again, not marketed towards hunters at all, but a fantastic resource on backpacking and outdoor gear. So, things like sleeping bags and water filters and tents and footwear and like all that stuff that is necessary to do backpack style hunting or backcountry hunting. He's a fantastic resource. So again, he's giving away that book. The keyword for that is backpacker, and his episode was 53. Definitely go check it out. It was a fun one for sure.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I was do a little segue since it's a nice intro into it. So for next year, and something new that we got planning is the Exo 100. So our death hike is going to evolve into a 100-mile, 3-day kind of backpack event. And I'm not sure, we're going to make it a race yet or just have it be like the death hike has always been. But I'm going to try my best to, I got a lot of details to figure out, but open this up so we can have 25 or 50 guys join us. So if anybody is interested in a complete 100-mile sufferfest, definitely stay tuned. And we're going to, hopefully, I got a lot of bugs to work out and permits and stuff like that. But hopefully I can make this happen. And the Exo 100 will happen next July 2018.
Dude, that's gonna be brutal. We've had a bunch of emails and inquiries about guys wanting to go on the death hike, as it has been for the past few years. So yeah, that'll probably continue unless the 100-mile number scares them off. But
it's gonna be fun. It's definitely not. I mean, the death hike you needed to train and be in shape for, but I think 100, doing 33 plus miles a day over 3 days straight. I mean, that's something in January you got to start prepping for and be ready. You can't just wing that one at a drop of a hat for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are new to the podcast and you're wondering what the heck the Exo Death Hike is, go check out episode 85. We recapped the 2017 podcast, or the 2017 Death Hike on that podcast. Also episode 44 if you want to go back and hear about the 2016 hike. But yeah, good times. It's interesting to see the death hike evolve, and 100 miles is new challenge. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. All right. Corey Jacobson, our buddy from Elk 101, has been on the show a bunch of times, is a fantastic resource, is, again, I'm sure that many of you listening to this are aware of. He's been on the show episode 12, episode 39, and episode 79. All three are great episodes. He is giving away a subscription to his University of Elk Hunting, which is an online resource, is quite literally an A to Z on elk hunting, whether you're brand new and don't know where to start, don't even understand how to hunt elk, where to go, or how to get a tag, all that's covered. Or you're, a more seasoned hunter that wants more tactics and strategies and advanced topics, all that's in there too. I mean, it's a fantastic resource, the University of Elk Hunting. So he's going to give away a subscription to that, as well as some elk calls that he has developed and designed. So again, Corey's always fun to have on the show, always a phenomenal resource. Go enter the keyword bugle, and you'll be entered to win those prizes from Corey. Can't thank him enough for doing that, and I'm sure he will be back on the show in the future. Yeah,
I can't. I wish one of these days I got to wiggle my way into doing an elk hunt with Corey, because we got to hunt. Well, I guess we could do segue right into Born and Raised Outdoors here. But we got to hunt with those guys, the Born and Raised guys, and they are phenomenal elk callers, which I guess we just recorded an episode a couple episodes ago with them.
It was the past one. It was 99 is when that came out. So boom,
wow,
guys,
okay.
Go check out the previous episode.
Yeah, listen to 99. Yeah. What's crazy is, I was super impressed with their calling abilities, and they had just come off a hunt with Corey, Dirk Durham and Donnie Drake in Wyoming, and they were learning from those guys on how to call elk. So I can't imagine what it would be like to get to hunt with Corey in the field and learn from those guys. And so that their Elk University, I think Corey put a lot of his knowledge. I know it took him a good year or two to put that course together. So definitely worth your time to go in and research that some more.
Yeah. And the cool thing about that course is, like, no matter how you kind of sort of either naturally learn or want to learn, that course covers it all. So it's written content, it's video content, it's audio content. It's self-paced. I mean, you get access to it and you can go jump around. You can do it sequentially. It's a really cool resource. So yeah, definitely keyword bugle for that one. Go check it out. Excuse me. As you mentioned, the Born and Raised guys. So they have some awesome swag, as well as a call package of their calls to give away for all of us. So the keyword for that is BRO, B-R-O, Born and Raised Outdoors. And again, if you haven't caught episode 99, A, it was just a ton of freaking fun, and B, you'll learn a lot about elk hunting, and yeah, those guys are always a blast. And be sure, as this is coming out, so is their huge video project, The Land of the Free. It's launching on their YouTube channel. They're going to have, I think, like 50 plus days sequentially every day of video content coming out on their YouTube channel. all of which is from a, multi-month, multi-state elk hunt that they did in 5 states, I believe, with different groups of hunters, including Steve and Lenny and the guys from Pure Elevation. So again, go check out episode 99 if you want to hear about that. But as one last reminder, go check out their YouTube channel and subscribe, and you will get those videos. It's going to be fantastic. And again, the keyword for their giveaway is bro, B-R-O. While we're on the topic of elk, our good buddy Paul Medell from Elk Den Outdoors, again, been on the podcast several times, episodes 36, 37, and 93. We mentioned him earlier when we were talking about Robbie. One thing that stands out with Paul is just his passion for elk hunting. It just oozes out of him, and you can hear it every time we talk to him. So not only super knowledgeable, but every time I talk to him, I'm just like, I want to go elk hunting more. He's just like one of those guys that's like, oh yes, this is the greatest thing on earth. Like I already knew that it was, but now hearing you, I'm like, yes, let's go elk hunting now. He has some awesome resources as well. Again, he has books, he has audio resources, he has calls. He's given away actually several packages for you guys that he offers through Elk Nut Outdoors. There's 3 prize packages, so just enter the keyword elk nut. You will be entered into his giveaway. Last, definitely not least, episode 76, we had Hank Shaw on the podcast. He is a hunter, an outdoorsman, a fisher, a forager, kind of everything. He loves to be outdoors, looking for the end result of making a meal. So he's a trained chef, award-winning chef, actually. He not only is a big game hunter, he utilizes small game, other wild forage for meals. He has a book called Buck Buck Moose, which is all about venison, how to prepare venison, recipes, field care, handling. And in his episode 76, we got into some of that field care information on what to do when you get game down, specifically with big game. I know that I learned a few things there. He was incredibly helpful, not only about what to do in the field, kind of how to get it from field to freezer, and then again, kind of covering some recipes. So definitely check out episode 76 with Hank, and then the keyword to enter his book, Buck Buck Moose, which is a recipe for venison. Just enter the keyword venison. So that is... go ahead.
I want to go back. I need to go back and re-listen to that episode, because he had so much good content in there. And one of the takeaways that I know I've been using a lot is defrosting my steaks and burger and stuff in cold water. It's like a counterintuitive, but it works so extremely well. I've used it almost every single night, whether I'm thawing out elk burger or steaks or whatever. So I need to go back though and listen and apply some of his recipes and stuff that he does.
Yeah, like I said, there's field care stuff. There's tips like that. I mean, we got into like how to cook the perfect steak. There's all kinds of good information in that episode 76. I remember you getting chastised, Steve, for turning meat with a fork. Like, that's a good standout.
Yeah. I don't do that anymore.
Tongs, my friend, tongs.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well, cool, guys. That is the list of giveaways. So there's like over $2,000 of stuff up for grabs. I'll just go ahead and hit the list again if you made it this far in the episode and you're worried about missing a note. First and foremost, the Exo Pack, again, there's no keyword. Just go enter the giveaway. It's really self-explanatory in how you do that. So you're entered for that no matter what, as long as you get in, period. Just running down the rest. So from First Light, enter the keyword Merino. From Heather's Choice, enter the keyword Quality. From Mountain Tactical Institute, Rob Shaw, enter the keyword Athlete. From Robbie Denning, enter the keyword Reaction. From the rest from the Ripcord guys, enter the keyword Ace. The Quiver from Tight Spot, enter the keyword Bob. The Sight from Black Gold, enter the keyword Ascent. The book or other resources from Ryan Kleckner, enter the keyword Handbook. The Bino Harness and Logo Gear from Muley Freak, enter the keyword Freak. The book from Andrew Skirka, enter the keyword Backpacker. The University of Elk Hunting subscription and elk calls from Corey and Elk 101, enter the keyword Bugle. The book from Hank Shaw, enter the keyword Venison. The gear from the Born and Raised Outdoor guys, enter the keyword Bro. And from Elk Nut, enter the keyword Elk Nut. So that's a wrap. As always, I mean, thank you guys so much. Again, I hope that this episode is a legitimate way for us to say thank you for supporting the podcast, helping us get to episode 100, and we're off for many more. So stay tuned. We have episodes recorded already that we will be releasing, as well as a bunch of exciting guests already scheduled that we will be recording and releasing. So we're not going to slow down. Stay tuned. As always, contact us, podcast@exomountaingear.com via email to enter the giveaway or catch previous episodes. Just go to exomountaingear.com/podcast.